Good morning and welcome to another episode of Soulful Contemplations. Today we're going to read a little something from the writings of another one of my favorite authors. His name is Anthony de Mello, and this is from a book of his called The Way to Love. You know what? That's a topic I love talking about, love. and um, this is going to be a very interesting thing. We're talking about what it takes to be happy, why we're unhappy, and what are some of the things that get in the way. All right, so um, let's look into this a little further. So he says here, has it ever struck you that you've been programmed to be unhappy? That no matter what you do to become happy, you're bound to fail? As if you were fed some mathematical equations into a computer and then failed each time you pushed it to turn out lines from Shakespeare. Right? It's like there's a certain program in our head, and a lot of us have been trying to figure out what it is. But it's programmed us so that we do not find happiness. Behind everything we do, we want to be happy. And this elusive thing called happiness is behind almost every effort that we make, everything that we do. So Anthony de Mello continues by saying, if you wish to be happy, the first thing you need is not effort or even goodwill or good desires, but a clear understanding of how exactly you have been programmed. This is what happened. First, your society and your culture taught you to believe that you would not be happy without certain persons and certain things. Just take a look around you. Everywhere people have actually built their lives on the unquestioned belief that without certain things, money, power, success, approval,
Someone is
a
at the
good
front door.
a good reputation, that without certain things we would not be happy. What is your particular combination? Once you swallow your belief, you naturally develop an attachment to this person or thing you were convinced you could not be happy without. Then came the efforts to acquire your precious thing or person, to cling to it once it was acquired, and fight off every possibility of losing it. This finally led to the abject emotional dependence on the object of your attachment, that it had the idea that it had the power to thrill you when you attained it, to make you anxious lest you be deprived of it, and miserable when you lost it. It's such a strange thing, right? We've dedicated our whole life to this pursuit of happiness. The American dream is about the pursuit of happiness. But is anyone happy? Like, really, tell me. Tell me. Is it true? Has anyone found it? Has anyone found the pot of gold that was promised to us? Hmm. Then he continues and says, stop for a moment now and contemplate in horror the endless list of attachments that you have become a prisoner to. Think of concrete things and persons, not abstractions. Once your attachment has had you in its grip, you've begun to strive, might and main, every waking minute of your life to rearrange the world around you so that you could attain and maintain the objects of your attachment. This is an exhausting task that leaves you little energy for the business of living and enjoying life fully. I mean, ultimately, with all the stuff we have and the people who are in our lives and the things we do, we want to be happy, right? So when we do something again and again, and we see that it doesn't get us to the objective that we're looking for, then somewhere we have to stop and question, right? What is it that I'm doing? And why am I doing it? And is it giving me what I seek? By the way, I'm sharing with you my thoughts and opinions, but hey, if you've got something different you want to add there, please feel free. This is your space as much as it is mine. And I'm deeply grateful to those of you that are joining me here and want to participate in this conversation, because this conversation is really about you. It's not about me. It's not about any one person. It's about all of us. Hmm. So then he goes on about how, yes, we do get happy, but it's brief, right? We do have some brief moments, um, brief moments of pleasure, brief moments of happiness. And then he comes up with something very interesting that I really liked, and this is what I wanted to share. Each moment you are anxious and afraid, it is because you may lose or fail to get the object of your attachment, isn't it? And each time you feel jealous, isn't it because someone may make off with what you are attached to? And almost all your anger comes from someone standing in the way of your attachment, doesn't it? And see how paranoid you become when your attachment is threatened. You cannot think objectively. Your whole vision becomes distorted, doesn't it? And every time you feel bored, isn't it because you're not getting a sufficient supply of what you believe will make you happy, of what you are attached to? And when you are depressed and miserable, is there. The cause is there for all to see. Life is not giving you what you have convinced yourself you cannot be happy without. Almost every negative emotion you experience is the direct outcome of an attachment. I've sometimes liked to say it like this, um, that we're like the ego, or that's pretty much who we think we are, uh, is like a baby. And when the baby gets what it wants, it's very happy. So the baby wants candy, let's say, wants some, ice cream, some chocolate, whatever it is. When the baby gets the candy, the baby is very happy. And when the baby doesn't, when it sees the candy and it wants it and it doesn't get it, then it's very unhappy. And the way I've come to see things is that we're all pretty much like that baby. When we get what we want, we're happy. And when we don't get what we want, we're unhappy. And it's a sad state of affairs because primarily, who in the world told you it would make you happy in the first place, right? Yeah, I'm not saying we don't need stuff. Sure, we need stuff in this life. And sure, we need, to have a house and a car and this and that and the other. But happiness, none of this gives us happiness. And whatever we get is momentary. So it's important to pause and stop and set our priorities straight. What are your priorities? What matters to you? Now, think about another thing. If you say, well, my priority is love and relationships, well, then what is your priority in love or in relationships? Is it that the other person should make you happy? Is it that they should do what you want them to do, and that when they don't do what you want them to do, then now you're unhappy? You see, just go really deep with this. We are all trying to control the world so that it will give us what we want. Whether you have folks who are obsessed with this law of attraction business, or who are interested in how to be a millionaire, or whether it is about getting the love of your life, it is all comes down to one thing. We are trying to control a world that cannot be controlled. Think about it. Have you ever been able to control anything or anyone? Can you control your heartbeat? Can you control your breath? To what extent? Maybe for a few seconds, for a few moments, but that's it. You might be able to control your business, your office to some extent again, but then again, it goes out of your control. So you're constantly in this struggle. We're constantly, your mind, can you control it? No. It's just constantly moving, constantly. And then the more you try to control it, the more it controls you. It's a sad state of affairs. The more you try to control the world, the more the world controls you. The more we try to be happy, the more unhappy we become. The more we try to find love, the more love runs away from us. So what do? Let's turn over to Anthony de Mello and see if he's got anything to say here. He says, so there you are, loaded down by your attachments, striving desperately to attain happiness precisely by holding on to the load. The load of all the stuff that we are attachments, right? The very notion is absurd. The tragedy is that the only method that everyone has been taught for attaining happiness, a method guaranteed to produce anxiety, disappointment, and sorrow. Hardly anyone's been told the following truth. In order to be genuinely happy, there is only one thing that you need to do. Get deprogrammed, get rid of those attachments, right? All the things that you think will make you happy. Because it is the very act of thinking, in fact, that caused us to chase after these things. And it is the very act of thinking that, in fact, keeps us attached to the things we're attached to. And it's the very act of thinking that has got us in its grip. So when you're letting go of attachment, you're not letting go of stuff, you're letting go of the thought that this stuff will make me happy. You're letting go of the idea that more of this, or a better version of this, or some type of this is going to make me happy, whether that's a person or an object or something you do. Doesn't matter. It's all the same, right? So then comes the question, what really is happiness? If happiness is not in the stuff of the world, and if happiness is not in the things that I'm attached to or that I've been programmed to think will make me happy, then what in fact is happiness? Who's going to give me that? And to that, I would answer just a very simple observation. When I look for my keys, it's because I have keys. I look for my car, it's because I have a car. If I didn't have a car, I wouldn't be looking for a car. I might be looking for my bicycle if that's what I had, but I wouldn't be looking for my car unless I had a car, or unless I was nuts, of course, but that's another story. So if I'm looking for my car, I have a car. If I'm looking for keys, I have keys. If I'm looking for happiness, somewhere I had happiness. Somewhere, happiness is something that is with me. I just don't know where it went. Now comes an interesting point. If happiness is something that is with me, where is it? Right? Is it in the pleasures of my body? Is it in my mind? Or where will I find it? Here's an experiment you can do. Try doing nothing. Try thinking nothing. So you say, well, I can't think nothing and can't do nothing. Okay. All right. I know I'm asking a lot of you. But try just breathing and bring your attention, because your attention is really where it's at. Your attention, your focus, where your mind is at, focused on, is the key. If your mind is focused on your phone, on your computer, on the news, if it's focused upon the things around you, on the people, on your thoughts and your emotions, then your mind is stuck in that orbit. And that's what's got your attention, and that's what's sucking you in. All right? Let's try an experiment. Bring your mind, your attention, your focus to your breath. Just a few deep breaths. And as you follow your breath in and out of your body, as you bring your attention there to your breath, to the focus on your breath, feel the breath as it goes in and as it comes out. And the more your mind is fixed on your breath, you'll notice one thing. You're thinking less. As you're thinking less, you're going to start feeling more peaceful. As you begin to feel more peaceful, you will notice there is a certain undercurrent of happiness, a kind of happiness that you've never experienced before. It's not the happiness of the stuff when you buy a new car or you get a new house, or some big thing happens in your life. No, that's like a big wave. And then when a few days have passed, then the wave settles down and it's like back to normal again. And you're waiting for the next big thing to happen. But this happiness that you're feeling when you take that deep breath in and out is very gentle. It's very subtle. It's like the ripples on a lake. Very gentle. It's not big. It's not dramatic. It's just subtle. Feel it. Focus your attention on it. Just be aware of it. And the more you're aware of it, your mind is going to understand that this is the real thing. In fact, you can come back to it anytime. You're done breathing for a few minutes, you go away, you come back, try it again. You'll see you can come back to it again and again and again. And each time you come back to it, you'll realize, it's there. It's been waiting for me all along. It never went anywhere. It is the natural state of who you are. As you go past your thoughts and come in, use your breath to, it's not about the breath, by the way, it's the breath taking you into your body and away from your thoughts, right? As you go away from your thoughts and come into your breath, into your body through your breath, you'll realize that your natural state begins to emerge. The natural you begins to emerge. The natural you was always there. It's not something you're going to create or become or attain or achieve. It was always there. But it was covered by the thoughts, by all the brainwashing of what we need to have and what we need to do and what is love and what should happen in your life. But take away all the shoulds, take away all the ideas, and come back to you, the you that existed from the moment you were born and exists still now, that hasn't changed, even though your body changed, even though your mind changed. The you, come here, come home, my friend. And in this home, and in this beautiful place called home within you, you will find what you've been looking for. It was there all along, right? The rest of the world never quite gave you what you wanted. Why not try this experiment? And it will be an experiment, because it's not going to, no matter what I tell you or anybody else tells you, that's going to be just words, right? And words mean nothing, not unless you do the experiment. So all spirituality really comes down to is an experiment. And unlike faith based systems, unlike knowledge based systems, real spirituality is about experimenting with an idea. Take a thought, this particular concept. It's a very simple one. Use your breath, come into your body, and feel what lies within. The more you feel it, the more you experience it, the more you will want to keep coming back to it. You will find yourself becoming addicted to this inner space. You will start finding that there are many different layers and flavors and aspects of this inner space. In fact, I'll go so far as to tell you that it is intoxicating to be here. This inner space is intoxicating. It is so amazingly addictive, right? But unlike the addictions of the world, which are, whether it's drugs or alcohol or whatever else it might be, shopping or whatever else that we get hooked onto, unlike those addictions, it's free. It does not have any side effects. It does not have any negative consequences. And it's always peaceful and always wonderful. I have a wonderful question here, and thank you, Holly, for asking. When I come in, all I feel is chaos. Will I feel this inner space soon? Holly, I have to share with you, I felt that way for years. I'd keep trying to meditate, and all I would feel was my mind was being more and more chaotic. I thank you so much for sharing that with such vulnerability. I felt the same way. I gave up on any kind of meditation as a result. And then I realized I'd been trying too hard. I'd been struggling. I'd been getting up at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I'd been trying doing cold showers. I'd been doing everything possible. Hey, this mind, I can win over it, right? And no, it wasn't happening. And then after I'd given up, one night I was driving home and it just happened for no reason at all. Like I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't trying anything. I was listening to music on the radio in my car. Well, it wasn't radio. I think it was a stereo, but whatever. And then it just happened. It's like, wow, for the whole trip, for about more than half an hour, my mind was quiet. Like, what just happened? How could this be? Then a thought struck me. Maybe it's easy. Maybe you've been trying too hard. Maybe you've been struggling. Because just like how you think, to get something, anything worth having in this world is hard to get, right? That's the program in our mind. Maybe it isn't hard to get. Maybe it's natural. Maybe it's easy. And I want to leave you with this thought that what if it was the most natural thing in the world? Like I said, you've been looking for your keys means you had them. You've been looking for happiness. You've been looking for peace. You've been looking for love. Maybe it was always with you. And maybe all you've got to do is allow yourself to slide into it. Now, it's very hard to get past the chaos of the mind as you're describing, and it's very true. But find a way, Find a way. You'll have to do your own experimentation. I don't want to give you some ready made formula. I'm giving you the general path, but then you'll have to experiment with it. Find a way. Maybe, and that way will be where you just kind of like slide into it. It's already there. Just start with that assumption. What you're looking for, what you seek, is already there. Behind the chaos lies the peace. Behind the madness of the thoughts and emotions and everything else is the natural you, which is always peaceful. So, meditation is a wonderful process, no doubt, but ultimately it's about coming to the place where you can observe your mind. The key part is you're observing your mind, and if you can observe my mind is chaotic, then you've already got there. Now I'll ask you to take away the word my. Not even my mind, the mind is chaotic. Observe it and just go, interesting. Interesting that you have those ideas. And don't buy into any of it. Don't be attached to any of it. Don't get locked up in any of its stuff, because the thoughts are an energy. The moment you lock into a thought, or you agree with it or disagree with it, it's got you. It's actually got you. So neither agree nor disagree with the thought. Just watch it and just say, I see. Interesting, right? Don't agree, don't disagree, and let it pass. And that way, it doesn't have any power. Try, see what happens. You'll have to experiment. Maybe you'll come up with something that works for you. Please come on. I'm going to be here every morning around 1:30, Instagram, Facebook, as well as on YouTube. And I'll be sharing stuff that I've read, something that excited me. And if you've seen something that you'd like me to read from, I'd love to get your inputs. Let me know, right? Message me, DM me, and let me know what you think would be a great passage to read from, an inspirational piece that we can talk about and discuss. And then also let me know your experiments and what you're trying out and what's working for you and maybe where you're struggling. And hey, if I can support you in any way, that's what I'm here to do. I love you. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to seeing you every weekday. Right? That's going to be my attempt. I'm going to try to be here by 9:30 a.m. Excuse me if I'm a few minutes off here and there. I'm still kind of getting this down. But I look forward to seeing you. Usually around 15, 20 minutes, maybe half hour some days if you get on a roll. But I look forward to seeing you. Thank you guys for being here. Lots of love and have a wonderful day.